All right. Well, it's Friday, and it's Friday's always a good day. Although in tax season, Saturday usually involves work, just like the rest of the week. But we've got a new face here to chat with me today about some tax news this week. Steve's busy with some client work, so we've got Tracy Pohlen with us here. So uh, I know Tracy works with a lot of our clients, but there may be some that don't know Tracy, so it's a good opportunity for her to uh, maybe tell a little bit about yourself and how long you've been with the firm.
Sure. I'm Tracy, as Paul mentioned. I'm a tax manager at Nienow and Tierney. I've been with the firm almost 8 years. Work on a variety of clients. I'm currently serving as a VP on the Cal CPA board and slated to be president next year. So we'll see if I get, how I do this year. If I get votes next year.
You're doing it all. You're working hard. You're Cal CPA involvement, and you're raising a couple of kids.
Yeah.
How,
5. My son's 5, and my daughter's 3. Sorry.
you got your hands full.
Yeah. Trying to juggle, that balance.
Yeah. So we're really proud of your activity on Cal CPA and just our firm's activity with Cal CPAs, California Society of CPAs, a good group. We've even taken our young staff to Sacramento. There's a CPA day at the Capitol where we lobby the state lawmakers on behalf of the profession and taxpayers. That's a great experience, I think, for all of us.
Yeah, which that is kind of a good transition into what we're going to talk about. We actually did Cal CPA Day at the Capitol this year virtually, and that's usually where we lobby, things that are important to our profession. And one of the things that we were lobbying this year was California conformity to PPP, or California conformity to federal treatment of PPP. So
yeah, that's been a big deal. And for anybody who has listened to all of these things, so for all 3 of you out there, this has been a big deal. I mean, we've been talking about PPP things. Again, this whole podcast kind of came out of the need to, number one, to just get information out each week as all these new rules have been coming out over the last year for taxpayers related to stimulus. And then number 2, it just kind of came about from our, use of Zoom. Everybody's using Zoom, and we figured, hey, we could hit the record button and start sending this out. But yeah, PPP has been the big deal. And we know that, I don't know what it was, 4 or 5 weeks ago, there was a federal law that was passed that said, yeah, we believe it was the intention all along that this money would not cause a tax problem. And even though the original bill and the CARES Act said the income is not taxable, the IRS came out and said, well, if you're not going to get taxed on that income, you don't get to deduct the money you spend with those funds. The federal government fixed that, which brought about this big lack of conformity with California and had us feeling like we're going to have to wait on filing 2020 tax returns until we get some resolution. And we got some indication that there's going to be some resolution.
Yes.
So this week, there was an announcement. It came out of the governor's office, but basically the state government, that they've reached an agreement on a stimulus bill that includes a provision that would allow businesses who received PPP funds that are forgiven or they anticipate to be forgiven, that businesses can still deduct the expenses they spend from those funds up to $150,000.
Mm-hmm.
So it's important to note a couple of things there. So for taxpayers who borrowed more than $150,000 in PPP loans, they're still going to be a discrepancy between the tax treatment for federal purposes and California purposes. And then it's also important to note that as of right now, this is just an agreement. There's no law, so this doesn't hold any water yet. But at least it gives us direction to start moving forward on things. I've already reached out to, especially the small business clients who received, 150,000 or less and have been worried about that California treatment. We can start letting them know it looks like they're going to be okay.
Yeah, and it's good to know it's at least on, I don't know, 150,000 is a good starting point, and at least it's on their radar and they're addressing it. I think it's encouraging.
Yeah. So practically, I think as it relates to that, we'll start moving forward, preparing returns as if it's going to be put into law. I'm guessing next week or something like this, this will be signed into law. And we can talk about some of the other things in this law in a minute, but this is really what's going to have the biggest impact to our clients. And then if we do get returns done before the law is final, we'll have to let our clients know, hey, we need to hang on to this until this law is signed. We can't file until this is signed. I don't want to get too into the weeds on the California PPP thing, but it's interesting to note that the California law that was passed earlier, I think late last year, that conformed to the federal treatment of non-taxability of forgiven funds only applies to years beginning after January of 2020. So there's still a little bit unknown for any entity that's on a fiscal year end. So that'd probably be corporations. California treatment in those cases is going to be a little convoluted and complicated, and we need a little bit of guidance from the Franchise Tax Board how to apply this new law to those situations. You want to talk about the other aspects of this potential law, this agreement that they came up with?
Sure. So they indicated that they're going to provide $600 one-time stimulus relief for households that received California Earned Income Tax Credit for 2020. In addition to that, people who don't have Social Security numbers that were precluded from receiving the federal stimulus are going to receive the $600 one-time payment. I think their income has to be below $75,000. So.
Yeah. So basically a state add-on to the stimulus that the federal government did, where they're going to actually just send a check to taxpayers, low-income taxpayers. So I think the earned income tax credit limit is annual income of $30,000 or less. And then, like you said, in addition to that, there's an add-on for undocumented taxpayers that weren't eligible for the federal aid. I think the state of California has decided that they'll take it under they'll take it on them to issue stimulus checks to those undocumented workers that couldn't get it because the federal government wouldn't issue those. So, and then I think the other thing that probably would be helpful to our clients that is in this bill is just more funds for small business grants. Mm-hmm. So Steve and I have talked a little bit about these grants. Small businesses can apply to the state, often through even the local municipalities. Like I know our city of Tustin offers these, where you can just get a one-time payment, especially if you're in the situation where, you are a restaurant or a bar and need equipment and things like that for continuing to serve your clients. So more funds for that.
Yeah, there's definitely grant money out there to be had.
Yeah. Yeah, and
My husband owns a small business, and he has applied for some of those California grants, and it's crazy. Like, there's grant money out there. I think there's one, it's just for small businesses, and it's giving $15,000 for small businesses, California. I mean, it's a lot of money for a small business. So, and they've been shut down for a while, so it's good.
Yeah, absolutely. And we've talked about this. Those grants, it feels like there's a free money flying around out there, but the reality is, without it, people are going to be unemployed, and that money is going to be flying around in the form of unemployment
Right.
compensation anyway. So it's been interesting to go through this year and see how this record amount of money going to businesses has really kept things afloat. I mean, you look at the stock market and the economy, and it just hasn't skipped a beat.
Yeah, it makes no sense.
It's really interesting. I mean, I don't hold myself out to be an economist, but it really, I mean, you've got the feds. Well, there's an old statement. What is it? Never bet against the feds, or you always got to go with feds. And to see them injecting all of this money, they've really kept the economy afloat. It's been interesting.
Yeah. I think this year will be interesting too. I think even if, maybe there's a business that didn't need the money last year, I think the fear of the trickling, what this year is going to look like, kind of makes people want to, keep their squirrel or their nuts.
Yeah.
Saved up.
Yeah. So I think I'd just like to encourage our clients. I mean, when we're talking with our clients and we're prepping returns, we're definitely looking at these things and who might be entitled to grants and other tax things that they might be entitled to. But I would encourage people out there, if you've got any questions about these things, you want to see if you're eligible for something like that, reach out to Tracy. She'd be happy to talk with you about it. Give us a call. We definitely want to help, especially our business clients that are suffering and hurting.
And I think too, if there's money that you received, grant money, I think we always like to know that information, and that's helpful for us because we can't be experts on all of everything that's going on, all the credits and all the grants. So I think when you kind of loop us in on that, it's great information too.
Yep. Anything else interesting you've run across this tax season?
That's a loaded question.
Yeah, I know. All right, here. Then I'll ask you this.
So I want to change the subject real quick.
Then I'll just ask you this one last question. Anything fun that you're going to do this weekend?
Well, the firm's been doing kind of a photo scavenger hunt to keep us active and busy and enjoying times with our friends and family. So part of the scavenger hunt is either snow or beach this weekend. So maybe we'll be taking a trip to the beach.
Yeah, I think I'm planning on that too.
Are you?
Yeah, I think I might dust the surfboard off and actually get in the water.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, been too many months. I'm sure I've got enough energy in my arms for one wave. But
you could be hobbling in here on Monday.
Exactly. All right. Well, thanks for filling in for Steve. Frankly, we didn't miss a beat without him.
Yeah, anytime.
All right. Well, hopefully this information is helpful, everybody, and take care.